Hello, welcome. My name is Rose Ingrid Benjamin. I am the community Connections lead at the English Theater here at the NAC, and I have the amazing pleasure to talk with Audrey Dwyer, the author of Calpurnia, playwright, and she's here with us. And I'm so excited to be here with you, Audrey. How's it going?
It's going really well, Rose Ingrid. Thank you so much. I'm excited to talk to you too.
Amazing. I haven't seen the play yet, but I have read the script and I rewatched To Kill a Mockingbird to bring me back to my high school life to get a bit some context too. So I was so excited to be able to chat with you today. I have a couple questions for you. One of them would be, what made you tell this story in particular? Like, why choose To Kill a Mockingbird for reimagining?
Well, like you, I studied the novel when I was in high school, and
Hmm.
it was a story that really touched my heart and introduced me to a lot of social issues that I had experienced but had never seen in literature form. Stuff like racism, isolation,
Mm,
um, worry for the other Black folk in society who were having negative and violent experiences. And I started out in my theater career as an actor, and as an
okay.
actor I played numerous maids. And in one talkback session, the cast and I were talking about how the particular maid that I was playing in that play was quite silent. And, a castmate had shared that they thought I was such a powerful maid in that moment because I said nothing and the entire audience was watching
Mm,
me. And so that really got me thinking about mammy culture and how
okay.
maids exist in literature and film, in television, and also in our homes. And so, I was in a writer's unit and I was writing a play that, wasn't really gelling with me. And I was speaking with a friend and we started talking about To Kill a Mockingbird. And I thought, aha, that will be my entry point into
Huh.
telling a modern day story about mammy culture.
That's really cool. I feel like so many Black women really understand like the impact or feel the impact of mammy culture on our everyday lives. I mean, I'm a performer myself as well, and at one point you're like, man, I'm just tired of playing sassy Black ladies. I'm
Yes.
angry and hurt and sad. Is there more to us than that? So that's really cool. Um, I've noticed that the whole family um, is like felt familiar to me. Like I knew someone in my life or parts of me even that I saw reflected on the page when I was reading the script. And what was your inspiration for the family and for the dynamics in there? Because there's a lot going on. I feel like especially if you're coming from a Black or even a Caribbean background, like I saw a lot of myself in there too.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing that with me. You know, I really wanted to see a wealthy Jamaican Canadian family on
Mm,
stage. I had never seen that before. And I also wanted to explore the myriad of Blackness. Lawrence is old school, he's
yeah.
first generation. And he's had to sacrifice so much to raise his family. Julie is just kind of rebellious and like laser focused on writing this screenplay that's going to
Hmm.
change the world. And she has a lot of shortcomings because she comes from a very wealthy family. There's just certain things that she hasn't experienced in her life, and yet she's trying to write the story. And Mark, her older brother, I know we all know young Black men like this who have a very particular sense of what Blackness is,
Yes.
and they're not going to change any of it.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to showcase these three particular views and see how they collide with each other based on their values.
Yeah. And I feel like something we don't always see in the public discourse around race is that how class totally impacts how racism impacts your life or how you experience racism or even how you see it, right? Like, um, for me, there were definitely some moments where I felt like that the story was touching on how class and race intersect as well, not just with the fact that there's a wealthy family, but also with even how like Julie dealt with talking about maids. There are moments I was like, ooh, that made me super uncomfortable. So I guess that was intentional when you crafted the story.
Yeah, it's definitely intentional. Every single character in this play has major flaws. No one is right, and
Hmm.
kind of everybody's wrong. The way that we can feel a certain way about our beliefs and who we
Yeah.
are, and then really we have shortcomings.
Yeah.
The characters are all inspired by the characters in To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's always an adventure, when you're watching a play that has been inspired by a novel because you can, you know, compare and contrast, what you know from the book and the film against the play itself.
Yeah. To like pivot a little bit, um, how do you feel about the power of the Black voice and the power of us telling our own stories and how that impacts this work?
Oh, well, it's been a real honor to be able to write a play and have it produced.
Hmm.
There are trillions of playwrights out there that don't get the opportunity, and I feel pretty lucky because it was, produced by the NAC and Black Theatre Workshop, as well as the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre in Winnipeg, which is where I'm from. Black folks have gone through so much, and they continue to go through so much.
Hmm.
And, we as an entity are quite resilient. And,
Yeah.
I think the on a global level, there is so much Black art. When you think
Hmm.
about the musicians you listen to and the music videos that you watch and the films and the actors and
Yeah.
the stories and the folks around you, the people you work with, the folks in your family, your friends of friends of friends. We are such a powerful group of people who are full of joy and celebration, and full of adversity. And so I think when it comes to theater and the live experience, it's such an opportunity to kind of reckon with those storylines and histories and from sound to lighting to costume. It's such an exciting experience.
Do you feel like you've learned more about yourself in this process? Like, what have you pulled out of this experience of writing this play and coming through the process of producing it now?
Well, let me tell you, like the first production took place in 2018. And
Okay.
I spent many, many years writing that play. And then, it was going to be produced, and then, COVID hit. Lucky for me, I had the opportunity, thanks to the National Arts Center and Jillian Kiley and Sarah Stanley, I was able to spend time reworking it.
Mm,
And the world has really changed since
yeah.
2018. I mean, I know I think we all know how much the
Of
world has
course.
changed. And so I had to do a huge rewrite in some areas, I think due to like diversity coaching and lessons on intersectionality in the
Right.
workplace, in our homes, in
Mhm.
and on television. We are now dealing with vocabulary and action that we all know about. It's no longer as unfamiliar as it was in
Mm,
2018. And
yep.
so I've had to learn about myself differently. And I've also had to change some of the education levels of all of the characters in the play because
Huh.
they are to reflect the audience. So I've learned a lot, and I think the characters have learned a lot too.
That's so interesting. Do you mind like sharing about how like some of the shifts that happened before to now? Like you said that the education levels had to change.
Yeah. Well, there are two characters in the play who are dealing with their responsibility to anti Black racism
Yeah.
and how they approach it through allyship. And,
Hmm.
back in 2018, not a lot of people were talking about allyship or had an idea of what allyship was or could be.
Yeah.
And now it's really in our vocabulary.
Hmm.
Like there are books, there are websites, there are quizzes you can take.
Seminars.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
there's been, a real change in terms of, like, what non-Black folk can do
Hmm.
to aid in anti-Black racism, and,
Yeah.
sometimes folks are like, Do we need allies? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. And so in the play, I talk about that, and I ask some of the characters to confront the do's and don'ts, and when things go too far, and when you need to kind of hang back from that.
Hmm.
And as for the Black characters, as I said earlier, every Black person has a different relationship to their Blackness, and
Yeah.
some folks don't think that we should be doing anything. We should just be like living our lives and
Right.
and taking care of ourselves. And other people feel like we should be a part of the movement.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting because I think we're all, in this time period where we're like, what do we do? So I'm hoping that
Right.
like the play sort of shows many different sides of that story.
Hmm. And there's like room for like so many different conversations. I feel like so many different, not just Black people, but people in general can sit there and see parts of themselves reflected and challenged, even mirrored in that sense too.
Yeah.
Um, what would you like for folks to take away if you have a wish for that? You might not. You might be like, experience it. That's fine. But do you have hopes for what people will take away from the play? And also, do you feel like different segment, like, will Black people take something different from maybe non-Black people or et cetera? Like, how do you feel like it would impact different folks?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that people get a good laugh because
Yeah,
there's a lot of comedy in the piece
there
and a
really
lot
is.
of things to kind of go, oh my God, that's hilarious. Is that me? Would I do that?
Am I the
Do I know
drama?
someone? Yes, totally. Am I the drama? And so I hope that folks get a good laugh. We've had a tough 2 years. So, if we can sit in a room and laugh with each other,
Yeah.
that's just an absolute blessing and joy. For the folks who have read To Kill a Mockingbird or watched the film, I really hope that they leave with a desire to reinvestigate their
Mm,
connection to the novel or the film. It was written a long time ago.
right.
Times have changed, and in some ways, times haven't changed. And I do think it's important to look back at our beloved pieces of literature and go,
Hmm.
huh. How are they standing up right now? And not to say that we need to get rid of them, but it's good to look back on these very touching, meaningful books and go, hmm, what about
Hmm.
today? And for folks who haven't, read the book or haven't seen the film, I just really invite them to engage with the material and
Mm,
see where they stand today in terms of some of the social issues that we're all dealing with.
yeah.
And yeah, I just think it'll be a great night out in the theater.
I feel that too. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but even just reading it alone in my apartment, I was laughing, I was cringing. I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
she didn't say that. Ooh, why am I
Yes.
uncomfortable right now?" So there's
Yeah.
I went through a roller coaster just on the page, so I can only imagine
Yeah.
seeing it live with actors in the set and the costume and on the whole experience that theater brings, right? Would be
Yeah.
such a moving and like a emotional experience as well. Um,
Yes.
yeah, amazing. One more thing before I let you go. Like, are you working on anything new or anything in the future you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Taking
always
a
writing
nap?
something, and I might have a nap later today. Who knows?
Go
That's
lay down. Yes.
it's good to take a break. It's good to take a break. But yeah, I'm writing a piece with the Tarragon called
Okay.
"Come Home: The Legend of Daddy Hall," and
Cool.
the Tarragon is a theater company in Toronto that focuses on new works. And I'm working on a TV pilot called The
Ooh.
Gordons that is inspired by these characters.
Okay.
And, I'm always coming up with ideas and things.
Great. And if we wanted to keep track of your journey or follow you and find out what you're up to, where can we find you?
Well, I would say just Google me, something will
Okay.
come up.
All right. Cool. Amazing. Well, Audrey, it has been a delight. Thank you so much for sharing with us, for being here with us, and for giving us your incredible work. Can't wait to see it. And I'm sure everyone else is either raving about it or on their way to see it themselves.
Thank you so much, Rose Ingrid.
Pleasure.